Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Tanzila and a warm welcome to today's inspiring session. I work for Kashmir Care Foundation, KCF. So KCF is proud to introduce the Everyday Legends series, an initiative designed to highlight the untold, impactful, inspiring stories of individuals who make a difference in our communities. Everyday Legends series seeks to celebrate and acknowledge the impact of those individuals who remind us of heroism, and their dedication has a lasting difference. We are truly honored to host a woman today whose story weaves together entrepreneurship, community leadership, and most important, cultural ambassadorship throughout her life. Our guest today is not just an entrepreneur who has broken the barriers in business, but she's actually a social force. She's a mentor to many, a visionary committed to empowering others. Whether she is building sustainable businesses, helping artisans back home in Kashmir, organizing cultural events everywhere, or leading grassroots initiatives, her work radiates resilience and purpose. Please join me in welcoming my school senior from Malamson. I take pride in that. Thank you so much. Miss Samina Masoodi, a woman who has not only created opportunities for herself, but has paved the way for countless others, for women in Kashmir. Samina ji, thank you so much for joining us today, and I welcome you on behalf of Kashmir Care Foundation. I'm very delighted to be that you're a part of this session.
Thank you so much, Tanzila. Oh my God, that was so wonderful, and I feel so humbled. Thank you for that intro, and I'm really happy and thrilled to be here, and looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing in Kashmir. Let's start with that. And how did it shape your values? If you had a particular hobby you can share with us that has had a lasting impact on you.
Okay. So yeah, I was born in Kashmir, obviously, graduated from Mallinson and did my master's in biochemistry from Kashmir University. And I grew up in a household of two working parents, household of four girls. And I did spend a lot of time with my father's family. My grandmother also, interestingly, she graduated from Mallinson School in those days in early 1920s, I believe, when it was, I believe, in, what was it, Habakadal or somewhere
I think
downtown.
so, yeah.
Yeah, so my grandmother was very focused on education. My uncles and aunts were very educated. Even my uncles, two of them have a degree from Harvard. And one of the things that was very, I wouldn't say peculiar, but something that unlike other Kashmiri families where, people would chit chat, which is really good. In our family, the topic of discussion after dinner usually was discussing some form of literature. It was anywhere from Russian literature, like they would discuss Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace, or it could be Pushkin, or it could be, English authors. And I was really impressed the way my uncles, my dad, they would speak so eloquently, and oftentimes they would recite like, paragraphs of these books. So, anyways, that was my intro to books, and I, would just sneak out into my room and just read and read. That was my hobby. I didn't like housework much. And it just, I was so irritated when my mom used to ask me to do something. And I would just go to my room, and as a matter of fact, my mom and dad would always say they would be calling my name out, and I would be hiding, and then I would run to my bathroom and say, "I'm coming." Yeah. So, anyways, reading about literature, and obviously, we know that books are a window to the world. So, as a result of this love for books, I did I got to have, live or travel, I would say, to different parts of the world through the eyes of these authors. And it changed my perspective about things, how I thought about certain things, and how what I did in my life itself. And that also impacted, I've read about a lot of literature that was focused on women related issues. social issues. And also got me thinking about the gender disparity. And anybody who's lived in South Asian culture knows that it's more of a patriarchal culture where the son is revered, the father is revered, and women are so-called second-class citizens. And often in my childhood, I would question this. And we were a household of girls, so we never got to see it. But then when I would go to my uncle's places or my friends' places, I would see that the girls are always doing all the work and the boys are sitting there. And the girls are told, "Chachi wo erugasun, yichu karun." And boys were like, "Hi, boy, I dims bichar balai lage chai bane vitan." And nobody would ask the girl, did you drink something? So that sort of was the foundation, and that was the background, and that's pretty much what I did growing up. Just reading books all the time. I wasn't into sports, and my coaches in school, oh my God, they would always be mad at me. I was a goalkeeper for hockey, and I remember my Gabriel sir, who was our coach there. He screamed at me across the field and said, "This is not a game of statues we're playing here." But that was pretty much it for me. I would do debates and book reading. That's pretty much it. Sports, I just did it just because I had to do it.
You know what? I'm going to share this video with Gabrielson as well. I think he's on my Facebook. I mean, he was my sports teacher, amazing, amazing teachers in school, and I really miss Samson. Yeah, I think they started in Fateh Kadal, right? Yeah,
Fateh
I
Kadal.
always
Yes,
confuse this.
you're right. Fateh Kadal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I think one thing that I understand is that reading is so important, right, for anyone while growing up to kind of get an overview of what's happening, learn different types of literature. And that culture is very much missing in our youngsters. I remember that I used to read when I was growing up, but not so much as I wanted to. I think because we had so much homework, my parents would always say, "Pehle homework finish karo." I remember I used to read a lot of Nancy Drew. There's this young girl who's a
Yeah, me
detective. So
too.
I really, really liked it.
And Hardy
At one,
Boys.
yeah, so all these things. My brother, I think, read the Hardy Boys, but it's beautiful. And another thing which is on more important grounds, actually, it's shocking that this thing still happens in Kashmir. That,
Yeah.
women are kind of sidelined, and the same thing. Like, I joke with my friend, and we say, "Oh, mera beta." Whenever, like, the son comes home, and then everybody's like, kind of focusing on beta and not
Yeah,
beti.
yeah, that's
But
true.
I feel in a way that we may have come a little bit, but then there's so much more people have to walk along this path, right? And then to reach where, women can feel totally empowered.
Agree.
Um, we will talk a little bit more about women empowerment and how you have contributed. But tell us a little bit about your own personal growth. I know that you said you have studied biochemistry,
Mhm.
and then you changed your career, like, professional career was entirely different.
Mhm.
Tell us more that how you ended up in, like, working in a company, or like you expanded in different ventures, and you discovered those strengths, and how important is it in today's world for someone who is like, despite the field they are in, how
Mhm.
important is it for them to be kind of flexible to flourish in the professional area? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, excellent question. Actually, I do a lot of mentoring to students as well. And one of the things that I often tell them is they're like, I wanted to do doctor, but I couldn't get into the medical school and this and that, and I wanted to do that. And I say, look, my story and my husband Shafat, his story, when you hear it, you'll understand that life has so much to offer you, and you never know your strengths until you actually try them. So just to give you a background of my story, where I started from, as I indicated, I did my master's in biochemistry, and I actually graduated as a gold medalist, which is like a valedictorian. When you talk about U.S. Universities, and I signed up for MPhil, and the goal was that I wanted to do my PhD either in recombinant DNA technology, which was the upcoming field at that time, or immunology, or maybe carcinogenesis. So those were my areas of interest. And as life had other plans, I ended up coming to US, and I got married. And in US, I did get a really good job opportunity at a university here. But it was a really hard decision for me because, anybody who's worked in biochemistry or, microbiology or similar fields, they do understand that there is a lot of work involved. I had to be at the lab at 6 in the morning, and then you don't know when you're going to be done. So it was a really hard decision because that meant that I had to leave my son at a babysitter's at 4, and then he had to be there. So Shafat and I made a joint decision that I'm not going to take the job, and I want to do something that allows me to be with my child at that time. Interestingly, I ended up quitting my job. So I worked as a nutritional consultant. Nutrition was one of the minors that I had taken in biochemistry, and surprisingly, that's what I ended up doing. So, anyways, I ended up quitting my job when my son was born. I just couldn't, um, bear the thought of him being sick and with a babysitter. So that was my decision. So for 2 years, I quit my job. Then I went back to work. Then when I had my daughter, I quit my job again, and then I worked again. So now the problem was that I wanted to pick up my kids. I wanted to help them with homework. I wanted to drop them. So one of the things that I decided to do was, instead of working for somebody, I want to do something of my own so that I have that flexibility and that freedom to be with my kids. So I ended up opening a nutritional supplement company, and it was online. Those days, we had internet had come into place, and so I started that. And apart from doing nutritional consulting, I also started my company, and that allowed me to be with the kids at home. When they had their summer vacations or if they got off early. So I was there, and my husband, obviously, he was working in his company, and he was working hard because I had quit my job 2 times, and so that allowed me to focus on my kids. I would take them to their games and whatever. So that's how it started, my entrepreneurship, so to say. And then what happened is that my husband also decided that he doesn't want to carry on with his engineering company. He wants to develop a software. And as any small business owner would tell you, that when you start a business from your garage, both husband and wife, they have to do everything. They're the HR, they're the marketing, they're everything. So, I would help with shipping, marketing, calling people, doing internet, searches and posting information on the, search engines and whatnot. And until one day, my husband, Shafat, said, you know what, if the software company has to grow, we can't be having multiple feet in multiple projects. So I quit I actually literally gave away my company, my nutritional supplement company, and he sold his shares in his engineering company, and we focused on the software company at that point.
There's like some tough decisions, right? But
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's great that everything worked out. Touch wood. That's very good. Um, but yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel that like whatever the journey, but women do have to take some important decisions, maybe with respect to children or anything else. So maybe for a while they want to keep their careers on the backseat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that women should quit their job. I know a lot of women have to work. They need to. But I personally, this is just my opinion, that if you can, be with your kids in those initial years. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money. As a matter of fact, when I came to America, my husband had gone to University of New York, and he did have a lot of loans, and we were struggling really bad. But we only had one car, a small house, didn't buy clothes, didn't do anything. We cut down on a lot of stuff. But I at least I felt good. It was just my personal decision. I wanted to be with my kids.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for everyone who's going to watch this, success comes with a lot of milestones, which includes
Yeah.
failures, right? And there's going to be a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah,
But then you need to
absolutely.
have that resilience, right?
Yes.
But I want to also call out for this upcoming session from Kashmir Care Foundation is going to be about making of an entrepreneur. Or Shafat Kazi Saab, आपके जो husband hai, he's going to be one of our panelists. So we are very
Right.
happy, and it's going to be on May 31st at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Okay, let's come back to our discussion. So you have done so much towards community, despite being so busy with your professional life, you still manage to find time doing things for the community, being a cultural ambassador. Tell us about some of the initiatives that you've undertaken.
So, any Kashmiri who has been away from home can definitely attest to the fact that you really start appreciating what Kashmir is, how important your culture is, and your community is when you are away from Kashmir. So Kashir Shasan, you don't really appreciate it. So initially I was very busy, with the kids and setting up our company and whatnot. But one of the things happened, we had about, I would say, 7, 8 Kashmiri families initially when I came in '89. And we would meet, and then there was a period of time where, like I said, I was busy with my company raising kids. I sort of lost contact. And I remember my friend from college, she also got married here, and she invited me to this clothing, somebody was selling clothes, Kashmiri clothes, I believe. And she asked if I wanted to go, and when I did, and I met a lot of other Kashmiris there. And I asked, are you living in Los Angeles? Did you yeti? It's to be sathwari. I didn't go with earthwari. I didn't go with dhawari. And I was like, oh my God, how come I didn't know about this? So it really hit me hard. I said, oh my God, what kind of Kashmiri community are we? I've seen, Gujaratis and Pakistanis and all these other communities. They have huge presence. I mean, in hundreds and thousands. So what I did was I said, I have to do something to bring the community together here. So I hosted a Mother's Day event for, all the people, and, whoever I knew. I said, please tell people who bring them here. So I invited them to my house. And as a result, people got to see each other. People met their batchmates that they didn't know they were living here. And as they say, Kashmir ki na akinan sarni. So everybody else like, okay, who miss you, Vatan. So, anyways, it was really nice, and everybody appreciated, and it really made me happy. And from that point on, other people stepped forward and they did events, and we make sure that I help host at least 1 or 2 events a year here in LA. So we do a harissa party during the winter time.
Wow.
We do Eid party or Eid picnic at least. And some people join, others don't. They're busy, but people do show up overwhelmingly. And as a result, our LA community, mashallah, has become such a close-knit Kashmiri community. And when we did our KGNA event, which is at the national level, we, I mean, I know I'm biased, but in my unbiased opinion, it was one of the best KGNA events. And that was all because everybody from the Los Angeles community got together, rolled their sleeves, and made sure that all the attendees were attended to with amazing food. They even did sarwan one of the days,
Mm.
and kulchas and nun chai and whatnot. So very proud of our community, and people need to push people and get them out of their comfort. Sometimes people are kind of shy. They're not sure, how they will be welcomed by the community. but you have to. And I'm really fortunate that a lot of people reach out to me and they ask me that such and such person is coming as a student, or there's a new family moving in, and we get in touch with them. We add them to our database here that we have for Kashmiri, Kashmiris in Los Angeles, and we try to welcome them and offer them help. And inshallah, our community will grow. And looking forward to more and more of these events here in LA and elsewhere.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
apologize. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I just wanted to say about KGNA that I have not had a chance to go, but then I really look forward to the next one.
Yes,
Inshallah, I'll try to go as well.
you're
Sorry,
in
I
trouble. Yes,
interrupted.
I was going to speak about that as well. So, I talked about the community involvement here in Los Angeles, and in 2015, my cousin Wajahat Qureshi and another Kashmiri, Tahir Kazi, they actually formed a Facebook group and indicated that they want to do a get together in Washington D.C. For Kashmiris in Northern America, which is Canada and rest of the America. And initially, I just joined as a volunteer. I was excited. Okay, now we're going to be meeting other people that we have heard of. I haven't seen my friends. And so me and other people like Hina Counselor and Samia Kazi and, Tabassum Bandit. So we started on a volunteer basis. And I realized pretty soon that their idea was really great. I mean, their vision was great, but they probably underestimated the impact this would have. They had guessed that it would probably be about 100 to 150 Kashmiris that would be joining. And I believe the ticket price was $75. And as we're working on various things, I started working on the cultural aspect of it. We had so many registrations that we literally had to close the registrations, had to put people on wait list. We had 800 signups, and that's all the capacity that we had for the hall. And what it also meant was that our cost per attendee was about 100 some dollars. So essentially, every additional attendee that we were getting, we were actually losing money. Initially, Wajahat and Tahir had anticipated, okay, we're going to go over $1,000 or so. So we'll, each pitch in $1,000. So with my background in sales, I and business, obviously running the companies, I realized that this is not going to work. So I was one of the first people who wrote a check, and then I raised my hand for raising the funds. And I we talked about my entrepreneurship and starting my company, and then working with my husband in a software company where I did sales. And one of the things that I realized that you're not aware of was that there was something in the way I wrote or the way I said things that made sense to people. As a matter of fact, it's interesting. When I started my first job, I had clients telling my company owners we only want to talk to her, and they used to sell supplements. Obviously, you do consulting and you say, okay, these are the supplements that you need, and their sales went up like 200 to 300%. So much so that when I decided I want to quit my job, take a break, that they offered to put a crib in the office. So I wouldn't go. And so obviously I didn't take that offer. But, then in my software company also, when we started the company, initially we took a lot of loans. We used to pay our employees out of credit. We weren't making much money. And then when, Shafat and I decided to start the company, my background, and I had taken a lot of sales trainings and classes on human psychology and entrepreneurship and whatnot. So that also came into play in my software company, where when I joined the company within 6 months, for the first time, we made a profit. And, I landed big contracts. And as a matter of fact, about 50% of the revenue generation was from me. And I didn't know that, that I had this skill of connecting with people. You know how they say that it's not what you say to people, but how you say
Mm.
it that makes a connection with people. So similarly with KGNA, when I ask people for money, and the way I would present it is, I always focused on how important it is for us as a community to keep everybody together, to create a mini Kashmir away from Kashmir here, and how important it is for all of us to focus on our culture, our language, and so that it's alive, so that children can get that sense of pride in being Kashmiri. And, then they pass it on to their, children and their grandchildren. So ultimately, that's what you want. And so in that context, so when we created KG, and after the first event, Tahir and Wajahat, and we had another Kashmiri, Manzoor Mir from Dallas, who had also gotten involved. And, they said, well, this event was a success. Let's give it a proper face. And there's another, Kashmiri woman from New York, Hina Kausar, who had also joined early on. Her, and then Maneja Yaqub, who lives in San Francisco. So all of us got together and formed a formal, organization. And since then, KGNA has had 5 successful events. We did the first event in Virginia, second in New Jersey, Philadelphia area. Third, as I mentioned, was in Los Angeles. Then fourth one we did in Buffalo, New York, and fifth in Chicago. So besides connecting all Kashmiris together, I led our cultural program, and I also, by virtue of me raising funds, also headed the fundraising committee. And as a result of that, I also got involved in vendor
Mhm.
relationships. So one of my goals was that, now that we have this organization, we are connecting Kashmiris here, but at the same time, we wanted to do something for Kashmiris back home. And some of the ways that we were able to accomplish that was another one of Kashmiri ladies, Naira Tariq, who is in Dallas. She's a dentist. She was part of the cultural committee as well. And so for the costumes that we needed for the cultural event, she would source it from designers from Kashmir, the jewelry, whatever else we needed. My friend Nahida Nazir, she enlisted playwrights in Kashmir, or Asmat Ashai Baji. Her Fankar group provided musicians, and we also hired people in Kashmir to do choreography, to provide music for our dramas, or Rof, or whatever else needed to be done. And then we also, initially we did tote bags ordered from America here from local vendors. But when I took over, initially I wasn't doing the tote bags, but I took over, I believe when it was third KGNA or fourth. So anyways, I ordered original Arikam tote bags from Kashmir from vendors. I also selected vendors and got souvenirs from them. So it was paper mache, it was hardwood, it was silk scarves. So again, goal was that we wanted to help people in Kashmir, and not only in Kashmir. In US, we have Mawal that's
Mm.
provided Vazwan. We have Chenab, that is in New York, that provided food. Ufi's Kitchen in Los Angeles, who did kulchas and anchar. And there was a kosher kandur. He provided sachwar last time. So we were able to help people in Kashmir as well as people in US. And vendors would fly in from Kashmir, and they would showcase their shawls and clothes and whatever. So that was another, contribution that we made. And I believe, um, people may not believe it, but I honestly believe that when we did our first KGNA, Tilla and Ari wasn't so much in vogue. As a matter of fact, people would not really look up to it or feel proud wearing it. But the first KGNA, people went into their closets and whatever they had received from Kashmir, and they pulled it out and they wore it with pride. And as a result, I honestly believe that KGNA was responsible for the revival of Tilla and Ari and Sozni and all kinds of crafts, because after that, we saw, so many events happening in London, in Australia, and people wearing Tilla with pride. And now every KGNA, I mean, it's just so heartwarming, and everybody's walking with pride, wearing their pattern. And in particular, I enjoy wearing my Kashmiri parents. Whenever we have a meeting with Kashmiri people, I wear my pattern, and with so much pride. So I think, in that respect, we did make a bigger impact through KGNA. And mashallah, I see now the younger generation has joined the board, and that was one of the goals of KGNA, that we wanted to pass this baton on to our younger generation. So
That
alhamdulillah.
sounds so amazing. I mean, I remember I wore Firan here once and I went to my lab. I ended up confusing a lot of people because everyone was like, "What are you wearing? Like, what is this? Is it like a gown?"
Yeah,
Because for them, it was something new.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so many things and so many thoughts. I wouldn't say like it's everything very, very inspiring. Especially bringing things again in style, but also like working together with everyone in the community and thinking so much ahead, like, so many visions and how could you actually help people or promote things who are people who are like back home in Kashmir, how to promote their product. I think that's also amazing. Uh, like in that line, I know that you also work with this women's group. Uh, it's called Yakjut, right?
Yes.
So tell us more about that. How did that start? And like tell us any memorable anecdotes regarding Yakjut.
Sure. So, uh, Yakjut is a Kashmiri group, a women's group, and a registered entity. So there's a woman, a young woman at that time, Hanaz Tariq. She had this idea. I mean, obviously, she grew up in Kashmir and saw, hartals and this and that, and how businesses were impacted. And she realized that it was actually women enterprises that were impacted the most. And so she decided that, irrespective of religion, location, if you're a Kashmiri woman, let's create a platform for these Kashmiri women and also offer them an opportunity to sell there. So they could do it from their home. So that was initially the idea, and she did call out to women who could help bring this idea into fruition. And I was one of the people who said, I want to do that, because, one of the things that I've always wanted to do was to give back to Kashmir, because whatever I am or whatever we are, it is all because of Kashmir. And I honestly feel that for privileged people like us who are fortunate enough who are doing well, it is our moral obligation to give back. Whatever we can. I know people are busy with their lives and it's not possible to give a whole bunch of time, but whatever we can. So anyways, in that context, I thought, okay, that's fine. I'll do that. So I sat with her, and we put together some guidelines, what we're going to do. And so that's how it started. And initially, I would just, make a comment here and there, until I remember one day there was a woman who was being abused by her in-laws. We do offer an anonymous option, which is really amazing, because if you know Kashmiri society,
Yeah.
if you post something, there will be 100 people saying, "Kya jos kormut khabar hai kya dalil hai kya hos na?"
100
People are
different
curious.
opinions. Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, so in her post, she had written that she is physically as well as mentally abused by her husband as well as her in-laws, and so she's thinking of leaving her husband. And so she just wanted people's opinion, like, should I leave? She had given some background. So, a lot of people had mentioned, yes, you should leave, you shouldn't be in a abusive relationship and whatnot. And I wrote a comment. I said, yeah, I agree with everybody else. You shouldn't be in an abusive relationship. But I also want to tell you that please don't rush. You need to think about your future. So, what you need to do is stay calm right now and collect your jewelry, the valuables that you have, and go make some trips to your parents' home and leave it there. You also collect your certifications, your documents, important documents that you have, and leave it at your parents' house. And the reason I said that, because one of the things that I'll talk about later. You asked about anecdotes and some stories. There are so many gut-wrenching stories. I cannot even tell you how many that I have heard since then, that point. I guess people like what I said or how I say it. Like I said, I really didn't know that there was a way that I connected with people. So, anyways, I do have women who tell me stories, and one of the things that I noticed, that when a woman gets married in Kashmir, invariably, either her room doesn't have a locker, or there's a cupboard but no lock. And guess who is the only person in the house who has a lock or a locker? That's the mother-in-law, right? So what happens is, as soon as the walima is done, the mother-in-law comes to the daughter-in-law's room and says, "Hey, give me your jewelry." And then things go south. People had to leave. Women sometimes have to leave. There was a story of this woman who wrote to me. This woman was kicked out in the middle of the night. She had to hide behind a dumpster because there were dogs, and she was afraid that the dogs were going to bite her. And she's writing to me, crying, middle of the night. And again, she left, and most of these women don't even get their gold back, and then they have to go through courts and whatnot, and sometimes they get a earring back, or a necklace back, but most of the times everything is lost. So this woman, who is a very successful woman, she was actually a professional woman. Obviously she was very appreciative of the advice that I had given her. And over the time, people started asking for my advice more and more. And I got involved. Initially, a lot of people would say, "Samina, why are you getting involved? Such a hakat. But, I feel I talked to you about this in our last conversation too. So, people like me or you, who are privileged, who are grew up in educated families, had enough money to live a good life, and be fortunate enough to live in a place that gives you opportunities to succeed. We sometimes overlook, or don't, or we are dismissive of people who don't have these opportunities. We think, oh, why? Kashir is the punky badshahs, the book lukas garib, donas other sati cinema kayin bat. The one was batay. Because he was a
Mhm.
badshah, he used to eat sath, so sati cinema. تِتھے پٲٹھۍ چھِ واریاہ لُکھ چھِ وَنان کہِ ہے یِم کیٛاہ چھِ لیکھان میڈم مجھے کچھ کرنا ہے یِمن چھُنہٕ سپیلِنگ تہِ آسان ٹھیٖک کیٛاہ چھِکھ ژٕ بیوقوٗف یِمن ٹایم کران ویسٹ مگر what I thought was, as a human, I told told you this other day too, that each one of us has that innate need to be recognized, to be valued. So just imagine there's a woman in Riyasi. She is a woman, she is working day and night, taking care of her in-laws, brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, from morning until night she's working. The husband doesn't appreciate it, her, the in-laws don't appreciate her. Now all she has is this phone.
mm,
And this phone gives her an opportunity to speak to so many women on Yakchut. And she's able to speak out. And there are women who tell her, hey, we hear you. You mean something. You are not just somebody who's out there and nobody cares about her. So if we are able to give that sense of security to that woman, or a sense of comfort to that woman, so that she wakes up next day and says, I can go through this life again, and I can talk to people understand me, I'm not wrong, I'm not person of zero worth, like my in-laws are saying. So it is very important for people like me and other people. I encourage women who are educated to get involved. People often say in Kashmir, "Hi, itna badle nahi kahin." Kashmir chana aaj kar ta khabar ki yadgas na kahin. But that's not true.
mm,
If history is a testament, there are people, there are, one person who was able to change history of the world. And, if we do that slowly and steadily, we can have an impact. And, people will look up to you, they'll listen to you when you talk to them. And, over the course of time, of course, apart from giving them just general information or advice, I do focus more on women's financial empowerment or stability. And the reason for that, again, is, we have women that want to get married. So, that's another thing in Kashmir. They won't focus on women making money, but they want them to get married.
mm,
What I have also seen by working with these women in Kashmir is that they ask for money. They're poor, living hand to mouth. They finally get this girl married. They beg, borrow, whatever, and they get her these clothes and send her to Varu. And
mm,
6 months to a year later, she has a kid, and they're not happy with her. They kick her out. So now she comes back to her father, and now instead of sending the daughter somewhere, now he has daughter and maybe one or two kids. Yeah, and so she's in a worse situation than she
mm,
originally was. So my focus is on making sure that these women are financially stable,
mm,
and they're making their own money. And what we do, me and other people, we usually, when somebody reaches out to me with a business idea, I look at the business plan, and sometimes, and when if I'm in Kashmir, I meet with them as well. And then if my investors, like, I present it to the investors, and then if they like the idea, and they understand, it will be a good money making option for this woman, then we do send these women to vocational training. For example, if somebody wants to do baking,
mm,
and so they're interested in doing that, ultimately opening a cake shop. So we pay the bakery to teach them this skill and this craft. And then when she's ready, with after the vocational training, then we provide money for the things that she needs, whether she needs to rent a place, and obviously mixer, blender, pots and pans and whatever. And then sort of follow through to make sure how the business is doing. And it makes me so happy that I see women who start in a one bedroom home. They start with cooking, and now they have cloud kitchens, and they partner with gatos for home delivery, and they're doing so well. And they're also employing other women. And there have been women who have worked in hair salons and tailoring places. And that is one of the best things, best rewards, I would say, for me personally. And we don't ask the money back in most cases, even though sometimes people do offer it back. But I tell them that, hey, you've created opportunity and financial stability for yourself. Now go ahead and do it to other women. Hire more women, train them so they can also make their own living, and they don't have to uh, stay in an abusive marriage just because they don't have any place to go or they need their next meal,
Mm-hmm.
right? They don't have to sell their self-respect for a cup of tea or some rice and some veggies.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I feel the work of Yakjot and what you have contributed in particular, this is so profound. It deserves a separate session when we just talk about. I know you do a lot of workshops and you've told me about this, but maybe it deserves a separate session where you actually talk to these people, or especially these women, and you tell them that how they can actually, you can mentor them, you can tell them what are the different opportunities they can avail as well through Yakjut or even otherwise, like this right mindset, right? And I
Absolutely.
really, yeah, I really like it what you said that they need a comfort zone with people. Na? Baki women, they provide that. एक acceptance हो जाता है कि
Mhm.
right, like somebody's listening to our story and then ऐसा नहीं है कि we are unwanted or something like that. So
Yes,
kabhi when a person is down, you want someone to listen to you. And that
exactly.
might like make you feel better. Not 100% better, but at least something, you recover from that trauma.
Yes.
Uh, this is amazing, amazing initiative. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, and also basically, like I'm sure that we're going to have a separate session for this as well. I want to take a step back and talk about your being a cultural ambassador. I know that you mentioned last time that you have written books with Kashmiri songs, so you compile them, right? So tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So, when we started KGNA, I told you that I was involved in the cultural aspect. And me, along with Hina Kausar, who and Samia Kazi, they were doing Kashmiri language workshops for kids and working on the qaida, for kids, where they had tsunt is apple and so whatnot. And while we were working on that, that's first KGNA. I thought, why not do something in terms of songs, so kids can sing songs. And I was always very fond of singing, of songs, Kashmiri songs. And interestingly, we had my sister got married in America. My couple of my cousins, nephews, they got married in America. My sister-in-law got married in America. And what in those days, what we used to do, they would send those videotapes or audio tapes, whenever somebody would get married
Hmm.
in Kashmir. And I would just watch them and listen what they're saying and write it down in the notebooks. So it was that repository of those tits and bits, in the book. So I put together a booklet of 15 songs and called it Manzirat. And we sang the songs. When we had the event, the women actually sat together, we sang these songs, and then we also sold it, and it received a very positive response from the diaspora, and people bought the books, they loved it. And after we were done with the event, I came home and I thought, if I could do 15 songs, I mean, there are so many other songs that need to be compiled. And one of the things that always bothered me was that when I go to Kashmir, I see people, particularly the young kids, they speak in English or Urdu,
Hmm.
and nobody speaks in Kashmiri. And it goes back to our time. And if you remember, we weren't considered cool when we spoke in Kashmiri in school, right?
I
Remember, we
think it
were
wasn't even
fined.
allowed. Huh,
Yeah, we
Kashmiri
weren't
was so
allowed.
uncool,
Yeah.
but allowed भी नहीं था.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so I remember we used to get fined in one of the classes where if we didn't speak in English or Urdu, so we had to pay a fine of, I don't know, 10 paisa or 25 paisa, something like that. So, which, now that this generation, obviously they don't know Kashmiri, and then generations ahead. Obviously, they're not going to know Kashmiri. I mean, even grandmothers, it's like I find it really cute and adorable when I hear them speak in Urdu with that particular Kashmiri accent. You know,
Yeah.
tujhe kya ho gaya? Idhar aa jao. Chunati
Yeah.
with that, so which is very clear. You can find it like anywhere in a big crowd who is Kashmiri. That was something that obviously bothered me a lot, and as a Kashmiri living in US, how much we focus on our kids speaking in Kashmiri and preserving our
Yeah.
culture. So I thought, so if these kids are speaking in Urdu and English, all these Kashmiri songs, we have so many different genres of Kashmiri music. So we have the traditional wedding songs, we have Vanvun, we have Chakkar, we have Bach Nagma, and all kinds of. There's so many different ones. So I want to go ahead and help preserve these songs. And I knew that if I did it in Kashmiri, nobody would read it because nobody knew how to read it.
Yeah.
So I started working on these by writing them in Roman English, Roman alphabet. And It was not an easy process because I'm sort of embarrassed to admit that me, myself, and you or others, we speak more Anglicized Kashmiri, right?
Yeah.
And there are so many Kashmiri words like vas, yeah, vyat. You don't know those things, and it was really hard for me to, listen and try to understand what exactly it meant. So, anyways, it took about a year or so, and then I came up with the first. This was the second book of 110 songs I
Oh,
had
wow.
compiled, and after that, I focused. A lot of Kashmiris said, "Oh, well, it's great you did the song, so it really helps us. But what about one one? We don't know one one. We want to have that touch of one one in our weddings here." So I said, "Okay." So I started searching for one one, and interestingly, I could not find anything about one one.
Mm.
So it was really, really difficult to, even find reels with maybe one line or so. So, anyways, I sat with my mom, my mother-in-law, my cousin, and heard them sing these one and then wrote it down. And so that was the third book. It was one. And then as technology improved, one of the things that I noticed was, okay, I did create this book of 110 songs, but there are so many more out there. There's a wealth of songs, of old as well as new. And am I going to print a book every year or so? And so I decided to create an online portal and uh, created this electronic book that could stay there and that had the ability for me to upload new songs to
Mm.
this portal, so that as a consumer or as somebody wanting to sing these songs, you could go to the website today and it would be the most updated, so you don't have to keep printing the book. And one of
Mm.
the advantages of this electronic repository of these songs is that you can open it on your laptop, your tablet, your phone. I mean, I see so many women at weddings with my wedding book on their phones. And so that was the goal. And another thing that I did was I did create a option there where people can actually go to the web version of the book, and they can submit their the songs that they know that's not in the book. They can submit it there. They can also make corrections. Maybe some word, Kashmiri word, I have not written it in a correct manner. They can say, oh, this is not actually this word, this is the actual pronunciation. And most importantly, what I also wanted to do was that I had noticed in Kashmir, if you look at artists all around the world, particularly singers and musicians, they have such a high status in our society, right? You see
Hmm.
Taylor Swift concerts all around the
Wow.
world. They're booked, sold for hundreds and thousands of dollars. And yet, when we look at Kashmir, our artists are treated like third class citizens, right? So what do people say when somebody says, oh, you should Gavan? So first of all, you get a picture of Gavan Wall at the wedding, and it's a transgender.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, that's another thing, maybe a discussion for another day, that they're not giving given proper jobs, and they have to resort to singing at the weddings. So, anybody they see who wants to sing or who wants to play a musical instrument, the typical response is dar khar gumutan. Amishina kamaka gaskiya jabakar, right?
Hmm.
And then also the songs that these uh, artists create, they have such a small base of people. How many Kashmiris are there in the world, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to allow these artists to make some money via this book that I had created, and so many people actually, download this book or use this every day. So I included audio video links. So the purpose was it was actually twofold. So one was that a lot of people don't know when they read lyrics, they don't know what is this
Hmm.
song about. So I wanted them to click on that and listen to it so that they can sing it, right? Otherwise, it's
Hmm.
useless, all the work that I've
Yeah.
done. And another one was that I wanted to give these artists a source of income, because every time somebody clicks on that link and watches that video, if they're monetizing it on YouTube or other social media,
Hmm.
that we have apps, they get a percentage of that, and so that way they can make some money. So it was just something that I wanted to do for the artists of Kashmir, and also hoping that it creates awareness in other people, and they start appreciating the arts, the music, the culture. Because if we don't, then there will be a day our language will be like Latin, and our
Yeah.
culture and our language, it will just disappear. And language and our culture makes us who we are, right?
Yeah.
Without that, we're just a person. So, I'm hoping that some of the work that I've done, whether it's in community or, in promoting arts and culture, that, it makes a mark and it makes a difference. And each one of us can definitely do a little something and, to make a difference.
But you have actually started something really, really amazing because now people can contribute to it. I think it's going to be interactive. They can watch the videos. Um, I mean, I grew up not listening to Kashmiri songs, but now I'm also encouraged to know I want to go and watch. और जब भी जैसे we have young singers ना कश्मीर में, so जब वो sing करते हैं, people actually start following them. But ये नहीं कि sometimes they sing जो कि पुराने पहले से ही थे कश्मीरी songs. और वो बस
Yeah,
people are revisiting. So ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब people want to listen to them, but they just don't know much about them, right? And this is a
yeah,
good
yeah,
platform. So कहीं ना कहीं जितना भी आज मैंने आपके साथ conversation किया है, I realize in different ways that जब कश्मीरी घर से बाहर आते हैं, I don't know, I'm sure that it's also applied to like other cultures as well. हम लोग कहीं ना कहीं कश्मीर बनाना चाहते हैं in our
yeah,
surroundings as well. I look out, when I go for a walk, I see these leaves and like plants or something. जैसे
yeah,
and I see them even weeds maybe. I'm like, oh, ये तो कश्मीर में है. Like in my वो वही है. We always start
yeah,
comparing everything with
yeah,
Kashmir. जैसे सोचल है. And
yeah.
यहाँ पे जब सोचल होती है, तो I get like super excited. I have taken pictures of it few years back and sent it to my parents. देखो सोचल है. Like
That's
because
it.
we eat it there. तो
Yeah,
कहीं ना कहीं हम घर ही ढूंढते हैं यहाँ पे कश्मीर
yeah,
ढूंढते हैं.
exactly,
um
exactly.
yeah, it's very beautiful. On that note, I want to know a little bit about your travel plans. You told me again, but I want you to also tell this for our viewers later. You have traveled so many countries and you're going to travel a lot more. So which countries have you visited? Tell us a little bit, like only a few countries, and which ones are still on your
So
list?
I have been to 76 countries so far,
Wow.
and our goal is to reach 100 countries by 2026. And why a deadline? So many reasons. We obviously, as we're getting older, and you also realize that life is too short, you don't know what's going to happen. So we want to at least get to 100, while we're healthy. And we've noticed from our earlier travels to now, we don't have as much energy, obviously, as we did before. And also, my parents are old, and my husband's mom is also old, and they have health issues. So we want to be able to be with them, obviously, when they need our help. So that's the reason. And so we have been to most of Asia, countries in Europe, Western Europe, the Southern Africa, Caribbean countries, some island nations, South America. There are still countries in Eastern Europe that we haven't been able to, and we're planning to do that this year. And then Egypt and Lebanon and countries surrounding that area. I'm hoping that things get better. The political turmoil in a lot of countries, that is better, because I do really want to go to Iraq and Iran and Syria, because it has so much culture. One of the things that I used to do in my childhood also, my grandfather used to buy me books about, Harun Rashid, the king, and the merchants and whatnot, and the places in Baghdad and Syria and whatnot. And so I'm quite fascinated by that. So I do want to see them. And like I said, inshallah, if our health is good, we'll continue to add more countries. But I would also encourage everybody to travel, because travel is one of the best educations that you'll ever get. No matter how much you think you know, and how much you know, but once you go there, you talk to people, it does open up your mind. And I also believe that for me, it has truly humbled me as a person, in the sense that, I'm sure you have experienced it in life, and I have, and some other people have as well. Sometimes we think like, ah, kashir gai, sari khud intelligent, kashir gai this, kashir go paradise, kashir go. And I'm sure, if you talk to people, and in our travels, we have also noticed that people say, oh, we make this, and we are the best country. And so when you travel, you actually see that most people in this world are people like you.
Yeah.
They just live in a different place. They may follow another religion or other cultural practices. But end of the day, what I've seen is that every human being in this world wants to work hard and put food on the table for the family and put a roof over their head. And so I would highly encourage. And one of the things, one of the reasons I believe, one of the reasons why we are doing this also is so we could inspire other Kashmiris who spend their money. They work hard all their life, and then what do they spend their money on? Build a big hall so they can have a wedding there,
Yeah.
and then get their kids married. And then once they retire, they're like, okay, now it's like furniture and this retired person sitting there, right? So we want to inspire people of our generation that, hey, look, you worked hard. You saving for, I mean, it's fine. You're saving for your kids' education. It's important, their wedding, but also save some money for yourself, so that when your kids are married, now you can just say, okay, this is my second inning. This is
Mm.
God's way of saying, look, you've done what you needed to do. You worked hard. Now you need to enjoy your life. And fortunately, nowadays, people live up to 90, 100 years of age. I have my uncles that are 95, my aunts are 80s, 88, 90. So, have fun and just go spend time, go travel, do things that you enjoy. And I'm hoping that people are inspired by us, that, hey, look, they're doing it, I can do it too, right?
Yeah. So I know that you said you have a blog. We are going to all follow you. If you guys make a blog of your travel, like, all the events and whatever journeys, Please tell us, and then everyone follows you and sees
Yeah, so
the
my
world through your
husband,
lens.
Shafat Kazi, he does these video logs for every country that he does, so people can follow him, or they can follow me. I don't do a lot of video logs, but we do have a Facebook page called Kashmir in 100 Countries. I post the pictures there. I haven't done it in a while, but that's where I post the pictures, and they can
I'm
follow.
going to
And
follow the page. I
yeah,
suggest everyone should, because I
yeah,
agree, like traveling, I know like everyone is not able to travel, say, to Europe in the first go. But then,
yeah,
when you start small as well, you meet all kinds of people and you kind of
exactly,
understand their problems, the way they think. It
exactly.
changes your view about the world.
Exactly. And you plus you get to see countries that you would otherwise never see. Like we went to
Yeah.
Laos. It's such a small country. I mean, nobody would go to Laos if we weren't doing, we went to Cambodia and we went to Vietnam and Laos was right there. We said, okay, let's add Laos. And then we were really surprised to see how developed they are, their infrastructure, clean roads, people, how they work, what they do. So like I said, every country we visit, it's like taking a degree,
Yeah.
honestly.
No, absolutely. Okay, so if there is one message that you would like to leave the audience with today, especially the young dreamers who are going to watch this.
So, I mean, what can I say? I'm no expert, but definitely, what I can say is if there are people like me who were born in a third world country, can make a success of their life and do things in whatever way to impact people positively. You can do too. Yes, it does need a lot of determination, a lot of hard work, but just stay focused on your goal, and you can do it. And I would also make a recommendation to people want to be entrepreneurs in Kashmir, particularly women. Surprisingly, I do see a lot of women in Kashmir becoming successful entrepreneurs. But at the same time, I also see women or even men. They say, "Oh, you know what? I want to start a business." Well, what business do you want to start? I don't know what's good right now. Should I buy a gas station or should I do this? You're like, okay, well, let's go back. So tell me, what are you passionate about? Because if you're
Yeah.
just starting a business just to get a paycheck or just to bring money in, I can tell you right now that you're not going to be successful. Because a business, you need to have a passion. You need to have a passion and you need to pursue that passion. And if you work and focus on that passion, work hard, you will have money just coming in and you wouldn't even have enough room to keep that money. And so, have a business plan. What do you want to do? What is how much market saturation does this particular thing that you're interested in doing? What is the market saturation? How many people in that locality actually will buy that product? And you need to know financing. It's very important. I mean, every business owner, you need to take some classes. Nowadays there are YouTube videos, there are online classes. Take accounting classes, take business management classes, because it's very important. You're a business owner, you need to know your your account balances, what is credits, what's debits, how does it impact. You need to know about marketing your business. You need to I also recommend everybody, hey, invest early on into technology. Invest in a software like a CRM software that manages your customers, their databases, so that you can then do selective marketing to that group, right? They're your customers already, so you need to do something to bring them back. You need
Mm.
to invest in an inventory software so that you know exactly what you have. You know what product you're selling and what product you're not selling, so that you don't end up putting products that are not selling and taking retail space in your
Mm.
whatever space you have. So you, as a business owner, you need to know these things. And the women that I coach and the women that I help, unfortunately, most of them don't know about these things. So then, there are certain women that, I'll go through, I'll spend an hour, 2 hours with them, I'll coach them, this is what you need to do. And then, I do a follow up, like after 1 month, after 3 months, 6 months, hour, year. And I've noticed that people who just do it just for the heck of doing it, मैम आजकल बिजनेस नहीं चल रहा है ना, वो है, ये है, all kinds of excuses. And I say, well, did you invest in a software? नहीं, मुझे पैसे नहीं. अच्छा, Excel spreadsheet create करो. You can do
Hmm.
Excel spreadsheet, keep your customer info, keep your inventory. I mean, that is at least you can do. नहीं, मुझे करना था, लेकिन फिर मम्मा बीमार हो गई, फिर मैं बीमार हो गई, पता हूँ बीमार, ये बीमार, हम साइको बीमार, पता मूड गुस्सा. I mean, you excuses, I cannot tell
Can really
you,
relate with this. Yeah.
honestly, so many excuses. I mean, I'm telling this to women in particular. We have worked and fought so hard, our mothers, our grandmothers, to get the liberties, or
Yeah.
to get this equality,
Absolutely. Yeah.
which is not still there, but still the rights that we have. We fought so hard for it. So don't make people tell you, see, women shouldn't be working. They're so stupid, right?
Yeah.
My grandfather, his favorite thing to say was, "Ha, you mancha zanan akalasan," and it used to bother me so much. And I would say, "What do you mean, ki zanan chana akalasan? Ha, yimchi beokufasan." For his generation, that's what he used to say. So, if you're a woman and you're saying, "Hey, I want equal rights, we want justice," men are, there's gender disparity, or men have kept us from doing things, which still happens
Mhm.
in Kashmir. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, for women who do have these opportunities, please, if you want to make something of it, just go for it. Work hard. Don't just sit back and wait for your customer to come to you. Nobody does. You know, you have to. You have to go chase that customer and tell them why they should be buying from you. So that's a big thing. Like, you have to create a differentiator. Like, why would people buy from you? I told you about, in my software business, when I used to be in a room full of people. Sometimes there were CEOs, there were CFOs, there were heads of states. I did a contract with the state of Alaska, and I was competing with Microsoft Dynamics. There was Oracle. There were all these big giants, and I used to win contracts. The whole point, I mean, I didn't have a software background. I actually used to ask Shafat to tell me what I'm supposed to tell my clients. And so I would have cheat sheets all around my computer screen. Yeah, but it was, why I was different was because I told them why our software, why you should use it and how it can solve your pain points. you
Mm.
know I mean, otherwise, why would you buy my software? I have to get to the bottom, to the heart of the problem. This is your problem, identify the problem, and now this is why you should buy my product, because my product can do one, two, three, four, right?
Yeah.
So if you're just going to sit there and say, okay, whatever, I just did, my parents were bugging me. They were saying, you're not doing anything. So do
Mm.
this. So, that's not the reason you go into business. You have to work hard and, do your homework. And you do your homework, you work hard, and I promise you, you will be successful.
Yeah.
Money will be flowing through from all corners.
Yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant points actually, especially like leading with passion and not doing something that, for the heck of it. I think that is a great, great learning. Thank you so much, Samina ji, for such heartfelt, insightful conversation today. It was lovely having you here. Your story definitely reminds us of leadership, and it's not just restricted to, say, this one field, but your involvement in all the cultural initiatives or everything else in the community building. I think they're definitely going to have this profound effect on everyone who's going to watch this video. And
Yeah.
through our Everyday Legends session, we hope to inspire others to recognize beauty of these small, powerful actions and basically encourage them everywhere so that they can also invest their time and they can also start, like, doing small things in the human spirit, in the name of human spirit, but also as a powerful reminder, and a powerful example they set in any phases of adversity as well. So, to our audience who are going to watch this, may this session actually leave you inspired because I'm totally inspired enough that you can actually create a change in your own lives and also in the communities. And let's actually continue to celebrate the voices of those who are actually making a difference. And until we meet next time, I wish you all a lot of fun. Stay inspired and stay safe and keep building the bridges of hope and
Thank,
opportunity.
thank you,
Thank you so
Tanzila, for
much.
inviting me. I had a wonderful time chit-chatting with you, and best of luck to you. You guys are doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much. And thank you. Hearts.
Assalamu alaikum.
Of Al Islam.